Today, we're going to talk about the top 5 North Atlanta suburbs that are perfect for first-time homebuyers and young families. All of these areas are really growing and are going to prove to be a good investment for you now or in the future. They all have excellent schools and great parks, and you can find a single-family home for under $500,000. And stay tuned because you're going to discover a neighborhood that you've probably never heard of.
Okay, so let's talk about Marietta first. It is a northern suburb and it's located about 30 minutes or so from Buckhead, 45 minutes to downtown Atlanta, and about an hour to the airport. It's actually split by one of the major thoroughfares called I-75, and so you're going to have a West Cobb and an East Cobb. And keep in mind, if you are going into the Buckhead area or the airport or downtown, like we just mentioned, you are going to have to drive, or you're going to have to drive your car to the MARTA station to get there. No, so not a lot of public transportation, but what you will find in the Marietta area are excellent schools, parks, recreation, a really great lifestyle for young people and families alike.
We're going to start with West Cobb, which has a really different feeling from East Cobb. You're going to find it to be a more rural, diverse portion of Marietta, and you're going to have access to cool shops, lots of great restaurants, and we'll get into that a little bit more.
Okay, so let's talk about real estate in West Cobb. You've got a median sales price of $490, which, like we mentioned, under $500, and it's really hard to find. So you're gonna see homes from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Some of them are like mid-century modern older ranches. And then you can also find some of the craftsman type homes with the adorable front porches for lounging and eclectic kind of feel if you're closer into the downtown Marietta, which kind of splits that West Cobb, East Cobb.
Just north of Marietta Square is Kennesaw Mountain, which is actually the highest point in the Atlanta area. And it has great trails that you can hike, you can run, you can even take a bus or drive your car to the very top. And the trails are sort of mixed. There's introductory trails of about 1 to 2 miles, and then it can actually go all the way up to 10 miles. So great opportunities for outdoor lovers.
Tons of history there too with the battlefield, the Kennesaw battlefield there. And so if you're a history buff, check that out as well.
West Cobb also has a lot of restaurants and great shopping. So talking about the shopping a little bit, there is the Avenue in West Cobb, which is an open air market. And you have some big name brands, you have some restaurants. And of course, there's also Marietta Square, which is the downtown portion of Marietta. And it's a great place to go on your own or with your family. So during the day, you're gonna find festivals and events. There's a bunch of 5Ks, there's a lot of markets. And even if you go when there is an event. So the restaurants downtown are going to vary from American to Korean to Indian. There's just a really great variety. And you're going to find even more variety in the Marietta Marketplace. Over 30 restaurants and some cute little boutique shops featuring local artisans. So it's really a cool place.
Okay, so Marietta features top schools, and West Cobb schools are a little bit different from the schools you're going to find in East Cobb. East Cobb schools are highly rated. We're going to talk a little bit about those differences here in a minute. But West Cobb does have some really great schools. You've got Marietta High School, you've got Westside Elementary, which is a traditional school, and you've got Marietta Center for Academics, which is a charter school in the area. So there's a lot of diversity there and something there for all of the kids, no matter what their kind of talents and gifts are.
Yeah, and another thing to note is the schools in the west side of Marietta are going to fall within the Marietta school city limits. And we're talking about East Cobb, those are going to be part of the Cobb County schools. So there is a little bit of difference to pay attention to if you're going to be looking at schools in these areas.
Yeah, 100%, yep.
So of course, on the other side of Marietta is East Cobb, and I actually live in this area. Jen grew up in this area. We love it here. It's a beautiful sort of suburban oasis. There are also excellent parks and trails, and also you're going to have beautiful views and access to the Chattahoochee River. Also, the schools here are top notch. So this makes it a perfect environment for young families or for those that might be thinking about having kids.
Yeah, and another thing to consider, we mentioned, I think, earlier in the video that you've got downtown Marietta Square, and you have the benefit of whether you live in West Cobb or East Cobb, to have close proximity and to be able to enjoy that area because it's phenomenal.
So because of these top ranked schools, you're gonna find real estate on this side of Marietta to be a little bit more expensive. There's a variety of homes in East Cobb. So you're gonna find everything from the 70s to the 80s, you know, ranches, contemporary. And then we have some really cool Southern style homes from the 90s all the way up to new build. So really there's an option for whatever you're looking for here.
I think one thing that you mentioned was that the prices are a little bit more expensive on the east side, but there are opportunities to get into homes under 500. You might need to put a little bit of elbow grease into those homes, but guess what? When you do that, your equity is going to build even faster. So don't let that scare you off.
East Cobb is a great place for shopping and dining as well. We have the Avenue East Cobb here, which was recently redeveloped. We have new restaurants and shopping. And then we even have boutique shops like East Magnolia and Ivy Lane.
Okay, like we mentioned, the schools are second to none in East Cobb. It really makes East Cobb a destination for families who really want to put a lot of money into the home and where they live and have top-notch schools and not spend money on private schools. So the three big schools in the East Cobb area in terms of high school are Walton, Lassiter, and Pope. And then you've got the elementary and middle schools that feed into those, and they are also top-notch, second to none, award-winning schools. The one thing I'll caution when you're looking at schools in the area is that some of the middle schools, the way they feed into the high school and the elementary schools come up, they split. So your kids may go to one middle school and have friends, and then it splits off and you're going to different high schools. So that's one thing to be cautious of when you're looking if those things are important to you in East Cobb.
Yeah, we're gonna put a full list of all of the schools in Marietta, in both Marietta City and East Cobb, so you can take a look at those on your own. All of the schools are gonna rank 9 or 10, and they offer really great programs, and there's even access to charter schools as well.
Okay, so let's talk about Kennesaw now. And we did, if you were listening, mentioned Kennesaw Mountain as being part of Marietta, and it's kind of on the border of Kennesaw. So you're gonna find that a lot of these cities kind of go into each other. Kennesaw Mountain is very close proximity to Kennesaw as well, depending on where you are in Kennesaw. So Kennesaw is about 45 minutes to Buckhead, a little bit further to Atlanta, and probably an hour and 15 to the airport. So it's a little bit further north than the Marietta area that we just talked about. But also it's only about 30 minutes from Lake Altoona. So if you are a water person, you're really close to lake activities in Kennesaw.
Yeah, and Kennesaw is smaller than Marietta. You're looking at about 32,000 residents, and it has more of that small town charm. The downtown is great, but it's not quite as developed as what you would find in Marietta. The affordability is great, not only in the housing, but also the recreation programs. And, you know, like all the areas we're going to talk about today, this is a very safe, low crime suburb.
So the real estate in Kennesaw is very similar to what you're going to see in Marietta in terms of the housing. You're going to find those older kind of classic colonial homes. You're going to find ranch homes, but I think you're going to find a little bit of newer mix in the homes. Kennesaw came about and was developed a little bit later than Marietta. So these homes are just going to cater to different tastes and give you diverse options and give you those price points that are going to be affordable.
Yeah, and the median sales price in Kennesaw is $450,000, so definitely a lot of great affordability there. And while the prices have been rising, and it's still considered, like most areas in North Atlanta, to be a seller's market, they are staying on the market a little bit longer than some of the other suburbs, and so there's going to be more room for you to negotiate and get a really great house.
Okay, like we mentioned, Kennesaw offers great options for activities and things to do, whether it's outside, exploring, Kennesaw Mountain like we talked about, or going up to Lake Altoona. There's something for everybody. And there's different parks located nearby in Kennesaw. Swift Cantrell is one of them, and Leone Hall Price Park is another one to check out if you're interested in going to the parks.
Yeah, and that one is near Lake Altoona, so you're going to find really cool wildlife there as well.
Yeah, and there are trails in those areas. There's a splash pad. There are dog parks. So it's really a great hub for outdoor activities like we've mentioned before.
Yeah, and don't forget the skate park, which is very cool.
Oh, and another fun fact about Lake Altoona is that the show Ozark, if you haven't seen that, check it out, was filmed there. The restaurant, I think it was filmed on the lake there, so it's pretty cool.
In Kennesaw, Barrett Parkway is where you're going to find most of the shopping. You're going to have big box stores, you're going to have some local shops. There are many plazas there and many restaurants, so that's where most people go to do their shopping. Downtown Kennesaw has more of the local eateries, brewery, and cool shops. And the entertainment district in that area allows you to walk around with a drink and just, enjoy that cool vibe.
So let's talk about the schools in Kennesaw. They are coming a long way. You've got Harrison High School and Kennesaw Mountain High School that are really highly ranked, and they're going to be a little bit more highly ranked than what you're going to find in West Cobb, but not as highly ranked as what you're going to find in East Cobb.
Next up on the list is Woodstock. Located about 20 minutes northwest of Kennesaw, it's about 40 minutes to Buckhead, and downtown Atlanta about 45 minutes, and you're looking at around an hour to the airport. Woodstock is located in Cherokee County, so now we're kind of moving out of the Cobb County area. The taxes are going to be pretty similar. They're slightly higher in Cherokee County than they are in Cobb County, but very similar, and both of them offer the homestead exemption, which is really going to help with your overall costs month to month. And generally, Cherokee is going to offer great affordable homes, definitely when you compare it to East Cobb, and just an overall lower cost of living.
Yeah, I mean, Woodstock was overlooked, I think, for a really long time, and people have recently discovered it because of its affordability and the development that's going on in there. Now is the time to get into Woodstock. They have revitalized the downtown Woodstock area with the adorable shops and train track going through it, the amphitheater there. It is a gorgeous area, a lot of new construction mixed in with some of the older homes. But the really big key here is that affordability and getting into that area with the proximity to Roswell and East Cobb and all that they have to offer.
The real estate in Woodstock is going to mostly be from the 80s and 90s, and actually a large portion of the real estate is going to be from the early 2000s, and there's a lot of new construction there as well because it's an area that's sort of more recently been developed. The median price is $537,000. However, there are plenty of options that are $500,000 and under, and that includes a lot of cool townhouses, which might be perfect for that first-time home buyer. Demand is pretty high, prices are rising, but again, a little bit less than what you're gonna find in the East Cobb area and a little bit more than you're gonna find, I think, in Kennesaw and West Cobb.
And so Woodstock has a lot to do. In fact, Woodstock is really known for the outdoor activities it has to offer. Again, the proximity to the lakes, the trails that are available, the parks and recreation. They've really done a great job in that Woodstock and Cherokee County in general to establish these outdoor activities and make the parks really nice, and they're busy. People enjoy them, and it's a big draw to the area.
Yeah, and I think a lot of first-time home buyers and sort of younger buyers are sort of turned off by the idea with suburbs not having the connectivity that you would have in some of the more urban areas. And so Woodstock offers a really cool green print trail system that allows you to access different parts of the city, whether by foot, running, biking. It's really beautiful, and it's part of this overall vision that the city has for Woodstock to make it a very green-friendly environment.
There are great options for shopping and dining in Woodstock without having to go far. You've got a really great outlet mall in the area, so you can find affordability there. And you've got adorable shops and restaurants located in the downtown area, like I just mentioned. So not just chains, but they're mom and pop, very Southern charm type restaurants in that downtown area. So there is something for everyone, and it's not just kind of big box restaurants and big box shops.
And also downtown, you're going to find the amphitheater, which is part of the area that's been redeveloped. And it's a really cool place to go and, catch a show after you go out to dinner or even just hang out with the family. Woodstock also has a lot of great schools. Schools like Woodstock High and River Ridge really excel in academics and sports. The elementary and middle schools are known for having really supportive teachers as well. And we've seen these schools really improve a lot over the years. And again, we're gonna include a full list of all the schools in the description so you can take a look at those and see what the best fit is for you. It's important to note that in all these suburbs, you also have excellent private schools schools and charter school options. So these are really great places for a variety of different schools.
Okay, so let's talk about Lawrenceville. And Lawrenceville is a little bit more removed from where we've been talking about East and West Cobb and Kennesaw and Woodstock. We're moving over to the east side of Atlanta. So really a great proximity to getting into Atlanta. I think even a little bit closer than some of these northern suburbs. There is a great vibe in Lawrenceville. It's very affordable. It's coming a long way, similar to Woodstock. So I think there's even more opportunity in Lawrenceville right now. The downtown area is adorable. So again, you've got that kind of vibe of kind of eclectic things going on, the Southern charm, and there's something there for everyone.
Like Jen said, Lawrenceville is very convenient to the city. It's 45 minutes northeast of Woodstock. It's about 50 minutes from Buckhead and about an hour to downtown Atlanta. And the airport is going to take you around an hour or 15 minutes. And of course, we always have to put a caveat in that it really depends on the traffic. And Lawrenceville offers a mix of home styles. You know, you're going to find a lot of similarities in some of these suburbs, homes ranging from the 70s to the 90s, and there's a lot of modern builds and new developments popping up as well. The median sales price is $400,000, so it's a great bargain, especially when you consider the proximity to Atlanta and the schools. Homes in this area are sitting on the market a little bit longer than East Cobb. However, like all of Atlanta, it's still considered a seller's market, but in some of these areas, you're going to have more leverage for negotiation.
Similar to these other areas that we've talked about, the parks in Lawrenceville are great. I think you're getting the general idea here. In the northern suburbs of Atlanta, there's just been a lot of thought put into making green spaces that are available for recreation for families and young adults. Rhodes Jordan Park is one of the ones that stand out in Lawrenceville, and there's trails and again everything that you want to do in terms of biking, walking, strolling, and anything like that. Dog parks are there as well. So all of these parks are going to be available no matter where you go in the northern suburbs.
The schools in Lawrenceville, which is part of Gwinnett County, are highly rated. They have great parent involvement and really overall are just a great community. And the #1 ranked school in the state is in Gwinnett and Lawrenceville, the Gwinnett School of Math, Science, and Technology.
If you look at shopping and dining in Lawrenceville, you're going to find a lot of diversity because there is, in fact, a lot of diversity in Lawrenceville. And compared to some of the other northern suburbs we've talked about, Lawrenceville is probably one of the diverse suburbs in the area. So if you're looking for international food or just different kinds of cultural food, you're going to find it in Lawrenceville.
The entertainment scene in Lawrenceville has really improved over the years. They've really revitalized the downtown area. You're going to find the Bowl, which is sort of another amphitheater type space that offers entertainment. There's also the Aurora Theater, which has cool, diverse performances. There's new bars and cafes. So again, really enhancing that nightlife and offering that great outdoor/entertainment scene. Next up on the list is Sugar Hill. So you may not have heard of Sugar Hill. It's a little bit smaller city, but it offers an affordable, adorable community for that first-time home buyer or the young family. And the proximity to Atlanta is also pretty good.
Yeah, so similar to Lawrenceville, you're looking at about a 30-minute drive from Lawrenceville. So it's a little bit northwest of Lawrenceville, and about a 45-minute drive into Buckhead, and 50 minutes to downtown, and about an hour and 15 to the airport. So a little bit further out, I think, than some of the others, but not far enough to make a huge difference, especially when you're looking at the affordability.
That's right. The median sales price in Sugar Hill is $472,000. So that's very attractive to a lot of the buyers that we work with. The real estate in this area is sort of that late 20th century. You have ranches, craftsman style, and there's also some new builds as well. This area, I think because it's so small and has its own charm, has pretty high demand. Inventory has been sort of stable there. So this is going to be a competitive area to get into, but it's well worth looking and considering it because of the value it provides.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the parks and recreation and food and shops, and very similar to the other areas that we have discussed, just on a smaller scale. Like Allison mentioned, Sugar Hill is smaller, but it's not lacking in the cultural diversity either, in terms of the restaurants that you're going to find and the variety there. There's still upscale shops, and even if you want to go into bigger kind of, I don't know, trendier stores, you're not far from that in Sugar Hill, although there's not going to be a lot of that right inside Sugar Hill.
In Sugar Hill, you know, you also have access to the bowl, like we talked about with Lawrenceville. And Sugar Hill is also located in Gwinnett County. There's local theaters, art galleries, and just great cultural experiences.
And the schools here are great too. They are highly ranked, just like the other suburbs, and they offer great foundations. So there are added bonuses within the schools for the kids to participate in because they are so well supported by the parents.
So there you have it. Those are the top 5 suburbs that Jen and I think are great for the first-time homebuyers, young families that are on a budget. Check out the description for a full list of schools and other resources that can help you start exploring them. And of course, if you want a little help, call or text Jen and I today. And there's also a Calendly link if you want to have a consultation.
Yep, that's right. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next week.